Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and I'm so excited because this is the first tutorial where I'm using my new setup with an actual tripod, and I'm at a different table too, which in the daytime will have better light than the other one. This is nighttime, but it looks like it's pretty good light. I think I might need to get a light like over here or something. So anyway, I'm going to be working with the position of the camera and stuff for a while, but no more swinging camera, which is really nice. So tonight, you know how I've been telling you to save all those scraps. I want to show you one of the things that we can do with it. And these are a couple examples from some of the other journals that I'm working on. I usually keep the paper for each journal separate from any other paper so that I can make this is called Franken paper in the junk journaling world. So I can make Franken paper for each journal with the papers that are being used in that journal. Here's one for another one that I'm making for a music based journal. Okay, but we're going to work with the scraps from our Abraham journal. And so we've been cutting off. And sometimes I mix fabric and paper. I think tonight I'm probably going to stick just to paper. So I have a whole bunch of little corners here. I'm not sure if that's in focus or not, hopefully. I have a few bigger corners that I've cut off of stuff that I've sewn even. I have some fabric, but like I said, I think I'm not going to use the fabric. I do have a little bit of yarn that I might use, and I might throw in a little bit of cheesecloth. You don't have to do that, of course, if you don't want to. And those two things work better if you're sewing. It doesn't work as well to include cheesecloth and yarn if you're gluing, but you can. It's not impossible. It's just not as easy as when you're sewing. But it looks great even if you don't include those two things, and I'm not sure if we will be today. Okay, so you want to have some kind of a base paper, and it can be something heavy like a cardstock. Like sometimes if I have like if I've cut off part of a manila envelope, I have a whole file folder of the pieces that I cut off, and so I might use that. But this comes out, you know, pretty sturdy. Well, in fact, this I didn't even put on a piece of paper because I was using mostly bigger pieces. So I just, you know, kind of sewed them together. But usually I will put them on another piece of paper. And most commonly I'll use them for a pocket. I don't have any other junk journals at this table, sorry, so I can't show you. But I'll use them for a pocket, or maybe for a a belly band. Okay, a belly band isn't as bad as it sounds. It means that it's just a piece of paper or ribbon or lace that's going to come down the center, either vertically or horizontally, and you can use it to tuck things into. It's really nice to have, and we'll have a couple of them in this journal if I don't forget. Okay, so what I'm thinking is let's go ahead and make this into belly band size. So I'm folding this paper in half. I'm not being super careful about being accurate, and I don't have a ruler at this table yet because I haven't moved anything over. I was just so excited that I wanted to do a tutorial right away. And it really doesn't matter if it's torn, like see here how that came off and stuff. It doesn't matter because this is just to hold everything together underneath. And so I don't even have trash over here yet. And so that doesn't matter. Okay, then I also have a whole bunch of other scraps that I've been gathering from all that I've been doing there. I thought I had some more. Maybe not. Okay, I guess that's it. Okay, so I think all my big pieces I've already used in another piece that I made for this. And I don't know where that is, so I can show you. But anyway, oh, and it looks like a few other things got stuck in here too. Oh dear. Well, we'll do what we can, right? I know I have more scraps. Stay here. I'm gonna hopefully not bump this, but I know that I have more scraps here someplace. I'm sorry to do this to you all. Here it is. Okay, see, I knew that. I have a huge bucket full. And farther down in the bucket are scraps from other journals that I'm working on, but the ones on top are the ones from this journal. I knew I had more than just a few there. Okay, so I'll take these and let me get one more thing really quick. This is so nice because I don't have to worry about bumping the camera or anything. I can get up and go get stuff, but I will try not to do that very often because it just leaves you staring at a blank table. I've got my distressing ink. You don't have to use that, but I like the look, especially for one like this journal where I'm trying to make it look old. Okay, I'm not going to put any on this white paper because that's just not even going to show. Okay, but this is black, so it wouldn't show. These ones I've already distressed, but these little triangles, and the really teeny tiny triangles I would not even bother with. But these ones I'm going to. I like distressing stuff. I think it's kind of fun. Oh, you know, I also wanted to show you, this is not really the best time, but I'm afraid that I'll forget otherwise. If you want to distress a piece of paper, okay, like this is torn on this side, but this is just, you know, where the regular edge of the paper comes. You can take your scissors and go along it like that, and it will kind of distress the edge, and it kind of bends it up a little bit, but it also makes it kind of ragged. And so when you distress it, which I'm not distressing this for the project, I'm just distressing it so you can see, but you can see it shows up how it's become kind of ragged there. Okay, so if you have something that you want to distress, you can do that. Okay, and there's a couple more triangles here that I want to use. I try to distress as much as I can before I start putting stuff together, but you know, it's one of those things that you just kind of do as you go, and so you don't really know what all you're going to use. You can use glue for this. Some people use staples. You know, I don't use staples very much in my junk journals, but some people use staples a lot. And, you know, it doesn't matter if they show. So that's something to consider. You can also paper clip, but then that's not very permanent. You know, somebody removes the paper clip and there goes your design. So I have seen people do that, especially with fabrics though. Okay, so when we do this with paper in the junk journal world, it's called Frankenpaper because it looks like Frankenstein, because you usually will use zigzag for it. Okay, so I'm going to go through my little stash here. I like this paper. Okay, and that's nice. This is from a different journal I'm working on. There's this green. I'm kind of looking for things with a little bit of design, but not too much, and I want them to, you know, look good together. There's that. There's some more of this. I have a whole bunch of little strips which I could use. Okay, there's some of this brown here, and this. Kind of looking for something a little bit bigger to start out with. I like to start out with my larger pieces first, and then you can pile on the smaller pieces and fill them in where you need them. Okay, so I don't have really a ton of very interesting stuff here. That's kind of funny. Usually I have a lot of good, interesting things. Okay, here's some from a map. That's actually a map of Tennessee, but by the time that's used on here, you're not going to be able to tell that. And these will actually be kind of cool. That's from a different journal, but that'll work. It's the same color type of thing. Okay. Just kind of looking through here to see what else I have that might be interesting. I don't think I have any of that color. Oh, here we go. Here's some of the stuff from this journal. Okay, so see how I just have a whole bunch of little pieces of junky stuff here. And it's like, you know, you're going, how are you going to use all that? I wonder what on earth she would do with it. Well, see, we try to use as much as possible and not throw things away as much as we can. Okay, so that's enough to start with. I mean, it's like way more than enough to start with. Okay, so what happened to my base? Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of the bigger pieces, and I'm actually not going to take the time to distress stuff because I just don't want you to have to sit here for that. I'm going to tear off the white stuff. Sometimes I leave the white stuff on simply because I'm going to sew over it. Now this edge, this torn edge, it's gotten white because I tore it, and so I do want to distress it. But I'll leave the rest of it. And because that part might show. But I could have left the white on there, and then I could have just overlapped stuff over that part. I like to have raggedy edges showing. Okay, so what I try to do, I'm using this just as a base and just as a guide, this white paper. Okay, so I want to have it sticking out just a little bit over the side, but not a whole lot. Okay, and I'm not going to sew on the edge of the white paper because I'm going to sew all the way around at the very end. So for now, what I'm doing is I'm just sewing like one edge just to hold it in place. Let me get it to zigzag. Okay, so I'm just going to sew it to hold it in place. And I think now you can even see the sewing machine while I'm sewing and not just watch the thread going around and around, right? Sorry if once in a while I stick my face in there because I'm not quite, I'm not used to this yet, so I don't really know what shows and what doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to leave this white on here, and I'm just going to make sure that I cover it up. And so I'm going to put it, here's the bottom of the paper, and I'm just going to put it like right there so that, see, so that this end is going to be all raggedy here, and this side is going to be raggedy. And a lot of that's going to get covered up. Okay, and I'm going to sew, not on that edge, oops, not on that edge, but over here on the other side, what is eventually going to get covered up, just to hold it in place. Okay, and see how I've started with my big pieces first, and a lot of that is going to get covered up. It's just kind of giving me another base to start out with. Okay, so let's do, I like the map. I kind of want to hold on to that. What else do we have that's big? Okay, so we've got this kind of pinkish, orangey, reddish stuff here. So let's go ahead and I want to tear the top because I don't like it to be straight on the top. Oh, good. And see, that didn't, I don't really need to distress it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm overlapping the green just a little bit, but down here at the bottom, because I didn't get it straight, it's not overlapping, but that's okay because we're going to come back and sew over that. I mean, we're going to, put something else there over it. And for me, the more haphazard it looks, the better. If you want yours to look all nice and clean and stuff, that's okay too. Then, you might want to cut your paper really carefully and stuff. Okay, that has a white edge from where I just tore it, so I'm going to distress that because I don't want any of that white edge stuff. And I want, I'll use some of this for where it'll show. This is one of my book pages that I printed on. A page from my first novel I rewrote and I took it out of print, so some of the copies that were still out there I am repurposing by using in junk journals. Okay, so I'm going to sew this in. And I run it through my printer. I tear the pages out of the book and run it through my printer, and it prints pictures on it really nicely. Let me see if I can find an example. Okay, like this. Can you see this? And you can see underneath that it's got, under the blue, it's the book page. And, oh, here's the one from this journal. Some of the scraps from the Abraham journal that I used. Oh, here, okay. I printed these pictures on the book pages. Isn't that pretty? So these are for a different journal, but I'll probably use some in this one, I'm not sure. Okay, so far we've got this. I want to do one more thing over here for my base, if I can find something. Maybe this. That's kind of cool. It's from a coloring book page that I used, and I'm going to ink up the edge there. I used this coloring book page in I think it was my Music and Butterflies junk journal. So, and it's coffee dyed too, which when you coffee dye things, it just gives it a really nice texture. Okay, so I'm going to put that right here because that way it gives me kind of a ragged edge here and a ragged edge here as well. There as well. Okay, sorry, I'm still getting used to where this camera shows. So, and I would ask you all to give me help in comments, except that by the time that you see this, I'll have changed it several times probably. Okay. So do you see how this gives me kind of a base to work with? Some of this will show, but a lot of it's going to get covered up. Okay, so then I'm going to take some of these pieces. Now this is sewn around the edge, but I'm going to tear it because it's a little bit bigger than what I want. Actually, I'm going to have to cut it because it's got thread there. There we go. And then tear it. And there's some white there, so let me just distress that really quick. Okay, so what I like to do is I kind of like to balance it out. And you know, you don't have to do this. It's just I'm kind of picky about stuff like that. I like this part here that's all distressed. So I want to leave that. I don't want to cover it. So I'm going to do this like right here. So that it, and again, I'm just going to sew one side just to hold it in place. And I don't trim any of my threads because I like that look. I like the shabby chic kind of look where you've got lots of threads and it looks really tattered and loved. Also saves you a lot of time, let me tell you. And my sewing machine, I don't know if you see, I push this button and it cuts the thread for me. Okay, so I'm going to start using pieces that are just a little bit smaller, like this piece here. This is from this journal, and I want to cover up this white edge here. So I'm going to tuck that white edge. I'm going to tuck it partially underneath this. I've still got some here, but I can cover it up with something else. So I'm going to just sew that in place. I'm going to actually do it at the angle here of the triangle. There we go. And remember, your sewing doesn't need to be really neat or anything. Here's a different triangle. Ooh, there's some on both sides, so I can use it either way. I think I like that side. Actually, it contrasts a lot with what I've got here. So I'm going to put this here like that. Sorry, the light really isn't good, is it? I need to figure out another light. I think I have a clip-on lamp that I can use. That would probably help. In the daytime, it's going to be great because I'm actually in a corner where there's windows on both sides of the corner. And so, it's going to be wonderful. Okay, so this has some white here. I'm going to get the ragged edge distressed, but the other white edge I'll just tuck under. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to tuck it under right there. So this is going to be left here, so I'm going to need to cover that, but for now I'll just do this first. Okay, I'm at kind of a weird angle here. If I move my sewing machine, am I still in the camera? Okay. Oh, I like this. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I don't want to use that long of a piece, but that will be perfect for going over the white that was on that green piece, but I don't want to take it all the way to the edge because I like that distressed edge there. So let's just, I'm not going to sew it over on that edge because I will be sewing all the way around the edge at the very end. Okay. And here's another triangle. Ooh, it's that stuff. Let me tear that a little bit here. And distress it. Okay. And let's put it, I don't want to have my triangles all going at the same you know, angle and stuff. Okay, I do want to cover up that white right there, so let's do that. I want it to look like it's totally random. You could do it like a mosaic if you wanted to. That would be really pretty. But for this one, I'm just trying to be very random. Ooh, I like that piece. Doesn't that look old? That's really cool, right? Okay, so let's put that up here at the top someplace. Ooh, maybe right. See how there, now I've got that pink kind of peeking out and the green peeking out there, but that's on. Okay, so it's not like obliterating the others, it's making kind of a multicolored top there. So that's pretty. See, it's not like a patchwork quilt. You can just like put everything all over the place if you want to. You don't have to, it's not so much like a puzzle. Okay, so now I think I'm going to take some pieces of this map here. And I want to make them small enough that you won't be able to read that it's a map of Tennessee. I want you to kind of assume it's going to be a map of the Middle East. All that matters is just that it's a map. And with all those lines and everything, it just makes it really interesting. And do you see how I'm not being careful about, you know, it bending or anything? It's okay because I kind of want it to be wrinkly and used and everything. Okay, let's put this over here to kind of break up that edge some. Maybe up just a little bit. There we go. I don't really want the whole triangles to show and look like triangles so much. I don't care if they do, but it's not really what I'm trying to have per se. Okay. So these little edges, the white edges that I'm tearing off, those are going to get thrown away. So I do create some trash. I just try to use as much as I can. And if you're a real purist, what you could do, and someday maybe I'll do this, I don't have a blender right now, so I can't. But all those little scraps that you don't use, you can stick them in a blender, I'm assuming with some water, and then you boil it, I think. There's probably a YouTube tutorial on it, but you can make your own paper. And I've seen paper that they've like pressed flowers and leaves into and grass and stuff. It is so totally cool. So at some point I would really like to do that, but not right now. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece. I want to make sure I'm not covering up anything that I just like totally love, like that map. Okay, and I'm going to sew that in. But see how I've taken that piece right there and I sewed across this triangle, so it looks like I've got one piece here and one piece here, so it's kind of like multiplied the value of that. If you want to say it that way. Okay, and then I've got another piece of this stuff that I really like. Let me ink up the edge there a bit. I don't really like it that big though. Let's make it smaller. We'll use that other piece in another place. Okay, because I don't want a whole lot of that coloring book to show. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. And I just keep layering until I like it. And it's really fun, you guys. It's just really relaxing to do this. And if it doesn't drive anybody crazy, you could do it like while you're watching TV or something. Get some ink on this. Or watching a movie or something. And it would just be really fun. Or if you're gluing, you could definitely do it while you're watching TV. That wouldn't bother anybody, I'm sure, right? If you're gluing. Okay. What else do I want to cover? See, now this looks pretty good right there. Let me see if I have any pieces that I just really, really want to use. I like this a lot. I might use that. Might use another little bit of the map. What's this? Ooh, that's different. I don't have that anyplace. Oh, I really like this. Okay, so I think I'm going to use some more of this. I'm going to cut it in half, or tear it in half, and ink up the part that's white from where I just did that. And I think I'm going to stick it like, see, I don't really like this bit here showing, so so I can tuck it under something that's on here but not sewn. And that's another reason why I don't sew them all the way, because then I can just stick stuff under them. Okay, that's good right there, I think. Okay, let's do that. And this will look really cool on the back, but you know, the back's not going to show because I'm going to use this for a belly band. Let's put in another piece of this because it's just a nice warm color. I've got some right there. Well, there might not really be a place to put it. Well, maybe right here, and then you still got the green showing on the side there. That would be pretty, right? Or is that too big? It kind of covers up a lot. Let me cut it down a little bit. As I get close to the end, then I try to use smaller pieces so that they're not covering things so much. They're just adding interest. Okay, see, so I still want that green to show that's sticking out right there. Okay, so that's good. Let's do that. So, I mean, you could make this as long and complicated as you want or as short as you want. Like on this piece here that I showed you earlier, for this, I was just using strips basically and squares and just sewing them together into more of a patchwork thing. So I didn't even have a background to put it on. I was just adding them little by little to it, and I could still add more to it and end up with a big piece of paper, and then I can cut things from it for pockets or whatever. I do that quite a bit. Oops. Like this. Okay. I still do want to stick this in here someplace. Where do I, oh, maybe down here. There we go, that's nice. And the thing about adding a lot of pieces too is that then you have more thread sticking out all over the place, which makes it look more raggedy and everything. And I just really like that. I like it to look really ragged and rugged. It's just something very, I don't know, to me, I like that a lot. Okay, and maybe just a little bit more of the map. I don't think I want all of it. And I'm going to save that because that's kind of precious. I don't have a lot of maps at this point, so I don't want to waste pieces of them. And I have a solid piece of green here, so I want to put this map partly on that. Oh, and maybe cover up where that curved part is right there. There we go, that's good. Okay. And I just noticed I've got some of this coloring page showing there that I didn't really want to leave showing. Okay, maybe I'll use a little bit of this stuff here. Just a little bit, not a whole lot. And since it's going to be on the edge, I really do want to distress it. I know I told you guys I wasn't going to sit here and distress things in front of you. I'm sorry. But this is for my book that I want to look nice. And it kind of gives you an idea. You know, it's like I don't have things all ordered. Oh, what's even better? I have this. I like that. Okay, so let's put that right here. Okay. And then I have some of the green that's like that too that I'll put in the corner maybe. Oh, I love that. See, these are these little tiny triangles that I was saving. And see how we're putting them to good use? Okay, so I'm going to tear off just a little bit here and distress it. Okay, I'm almost done, and then I'll show you how we're going to use it in our book, in our journal. Okay, I think that's good. How do you guys like that? I'm still going to sew stuff down. Okay, but I just want to check and make sure that there's nothing else, any other little scraps here that I really want to put on this one. Maybe this one right here. I'll put that on this piece that's all pink right here. Okay, and I'll use more of these. I'll probably make a big page, probably a few pages by the time that we finish the book. And then I'll just, you know, when we're doing our pockets and stuff, it's like having paper that's all ready for you to make into pockets and everything. Okay, so now I'm just going around the edge, and I'm doing the whole entire edge all the way around. Most of the edge has not been sewn. There's a few places where it has gotten sewn. Okay. I just want to get it all, because you know, if there's any edges that you don't tack down with your zigzag, they're going to get pulled at and stuff when you're sliding paper under this, because this is a belly band, and or if you use it as a pocket or whatever, and they're going to start coming up and everything. I don't mind so much if it starts looking shabby, but I don't want it to get pulled apart. So now what I'm doing is I'm just looking for any loose edges that haven't been sewn down.